Hello, this is Scary Stories. Have any of you out there ever had the feeling that you're being watched? I'm not talking about paranoia or drug affiliated feelings. I'm talking about being alone, maybe in your room, maybe in your house, maybe in your place of work, maybe even in your car. But there's a sense of another presence around you. I don't have any particular stories, but I wanted to know if any of you out there have anything you want to share. In particular, any feeling of uneasiness, unsettling, possibly unsafe, any kind of stories like that, put them down in the comments. I remember a while back, I purchased a used vehicle. It was an older Ford Escort, the hatchback type. This is a two-door 99 Ford hatchback. And I'm talking about maybe back in 2000, might have been around 2011. So even then, that was an old vehicle back then. So I don't know who owned the vehicle before or where that vehicle had been previous before me. I purchased it at a tow yard. It was a lien sale. And one time I almost crashed in that car. I only owned it for about 6 months. I never grew fond of the vehicle, but I was driving down one of the highway roads. It was a two-way highway, Highway 99 actually. And I'm going one way, there's vehicles coming the other way, two lanes. So somehow, and I don't know how because I was pretty focused on the road, but I veered off into oncoming traffic slightly. Thank God it was just slightly. And there was a semi truck coming the opposite direction. Now, I don't know if I spaced out for a moment or I just wasn't focused in the moment because I felt like I was focused on the road, but maybe I started drifting away. But I got so close to the oncoming semi truck that one of the cargo ropes that was hanging off of the box of the truck, big, thick cargo rope, slapped my windshield. I mean, I was inches away from this big semi truck. And the only reason that I was able to jerk the steering wheel back and regain focus was because my passenger pulled on my shoulder and screamed. And as she screamed, I jerked the steering wheel to my right a little bit, just enough to miss the corner of the flatbed of the semi truck. Now, the only reason I think this might have a coincidence with uneasiness in that vehicle is because sometimes when I would be driving alone in that car, I had a sense of looking in my rear view mirror, the center rear view mirror that hangs off the windshield inside. Like, I always wanted to see who was in the back seat. Of course, there was nobody there. But for some reason, I would want to look in the mirror, look towards the back. I'd turn my neck around, I'd look over my shoulder. There was never anybody there, obviously, but I always had a feeling of looking back on to the back seat. Again, I don't know where that vehicle had been before me. I don't know how many owners it had. All I know is that it was in a towing yard when I purchased it. I don't know if somebody got in an accident before me. Although the car looked fine, it did have a replaced fender, but I mean, that could have just been a simple fender bender. I don't think anybody died in that vehicle. Maybe somebody just got a DUI and they got their car taken away. The reason I bought that car was because it was super cheap. Um, I want to say I paid about $475 for the car at the time. Um, I don't know, but either way, I did get a strange feeling every time I was driving that car by myself. Now, a lot of times, those years I was out at night late, partying, doing a little drinking and driving myself. So I would be in the situation where I would be driving that vehicle all alone late at night, 2, 3, 4, 5 in the morning, sometimes in country roads, nobody else around me but me. So it could have just been my imagination a lot of times, but at the same time, I've had many other vehicles and I have not felt that same feeling. There was another time in that same vehicle, and I should not have been doing this, but I felt that I had to get home no matter what. This was after a long night of drinking, and for one reason or another, I didn't feel safe at the location I was at. This was many, many, many drinks after the scenario had changed, new people had arrived. There was just way too many people there, and I didn't want to stick around. Of course, with poor judgment, I thought I could drive home. And I got in the car and started driving. Now, I recall having that same feeling, looking over my shoulder, no one in the back seat. Then I was focused on the road again, kept driving, and there was not much there except emptiness on these country roads. But I veered off into one of the ditches. My car was completely halfway into the ditch, but I was going so fast that I was able to jerk the steering wheel to the left, and I managed to get back on the road. Needless to say, I don't know how. When I woke up, I was in my bed. I jumped out to see outside, and in the driveway was the car. Somehow it got me home. There's no particular direction with the story, but these are stories that I just can't explain myself. This is Scary Stories. Keep your positive energy.